welcome everybody. Welcome to our chance to ride along with the sailors, ride along with the boats live on leg 3 of the Ocean Race Europe 2025 from Cartagena to Nice. And we are in the closing stages of this leg. We are in that last little push. And what has really dominated the race course for the last 2 days has been the search for breeze. We have seen our sailors tortured in the heat. I mean, just dripping with sweat from all the endless maneuvers that have been required to hang on to the thinnest of leads. They've been almost bored waiting for the wind, but that has changed, and that has changed dramatically. And what I mean by that is how fast you get the wind arriving. And you really have to be starting to ask yourself, is this actually what I was wishing for? Take a look at this. So this is what happened. This is how quickly it has changed here for Team Amala out on the water. So this was the scene about sunrise, waiting for the wind. Alan Rohrer, the skipper there, just sitting on deck, just trying to relax, trying to get out of the heat. Those sails flapping lifelessly. The boat at this point, seeing everybody else rushing ahead, there is no power being generated because there's just no wind. But look at how quickly it changed. And how much it changed. This was about an hour ago. 70 knots across the deck of the boat. And that is Alan Rohrer going outside, because when the wind does get that heavy, you've got to reattach that thing that's broken loose. You've got to pack down the sail that's getting out of the way. He's out there, life jacket, harness. He's out there in the cold, fierce spray. And he's hanging on for dear life. That's risky, that's dangerous. And the waves were absolutely pummeling across the boat. This is the footage that was beamed to us just before we came on air. And we all held our breath at that point. Because for a minute, when you lose Alan Rohrer on that deck as the wave rips over, well, you're very relieved when the wave goes past and he is still there. To go from less than 4 knots of wind to nearly 70 knots, yeah, it is quite something. So it has been a real step change. This is the scene right now on Amala, and as you can see, as we watch the boat live here, you can see that, yeah, everybody's on board, everybody's doing pretty well. Alan Rohrer is there, Conrad Coleman, the navigator, new navigator that's stepping on board for this leg. Rebecca Gumer is on there as well. And they have been through something that's quite wild. Now we're actually going to get a chance to speak to Alan Rohrer. We're going to do that a little bit later on. We're going to give him a chance to kind of catch his breath and sort of try and kind of recover himself. But he looks pretty good. He looks kind of invigorated from it. So before we check in with Alan Rohrer, we're also going to be checking in with Canada Ocean Racing, who've had an equally rough ride as well. But before we do all that, let's have a little bit of a look at what's happened so far on this leg. Let's have a look. We've got a nice little animation here of how that leg has played out so far over the last kind of 2 days. So from that scoring gate just off Cartagena, it's been really close. It's been really packed together. Predictably, Biotherm, Team Holcim PRB have been at the front, sort of joshing for the lead. And while we've had some light winds swept across the course and things have compacted, it's really been about those 2 boats, Holcim and Biotherm. Holcim seemed to have a little bit of a problem. Biotherm pushed ahead, but now we're into that long push up north towards Nice. And this is where the wind has come across. Basically, an enormous thunderstorm wiping across the fleet. So it has certainly been pretty wild. So we're going to be jumping around between the boats. These are the live images that have been coming off the water. Canada Ocean Racing, Be Water Positive. We're going to be speaking to their OBR in a little while, just to hear about the rough ride that they've been going through. Also going to be checking in across the other boats on the fleets as well, and a little bit of a chance just to see, well, just how much that step change has been for the boat. So let's get back to the race course. Let's have a little bit of a look at what's been going on out there. So, on board with Biotherm, live from the front of the fleet. And this boat is just always looking incredibly comfortable. And you might notice something that looks a little bit different here. They haven't yet hit the thunderstorm, or should I say, the thunderstorm hasn't yet caught up with them, sweeping in through the back. So they're still hot, they're still sweaty, and they've got this long grey trunk that is going through the cockpit and out to the back. And that is carrying the heat from the engine, I think. I think it's a way to kind of remove that heat from the boat, just to try and keep the inside of the boat from getting too hot. I mean, we've already had the sailors talking about it being 40 degrees. Oh, look at that, the OBR, reading my mind. Wonderful, giving us an idea. That there is the engine box, fixed in, and then it's taking all that heat out. 40 degrees down below. Everyone's up on deck. Paul Mayer on the right-hand side. Sam Goodchild in there as well. Benjamin Farid. And Amelie Grassi just had a shot as well. She's on the winches. So Alagrande Mapei. Now on the, I'm just going to bring up the tracker really quickly, just so we can have a little bit of a look as to where that front pack is. And as you can see, it's really compacted. Everybody is really tight together. So we've got Biotherm nicely out in front. Alagrande Mapei is just in that group, just back here. And they look like they've done a little bit of work outside. I'm just seeing one of their crew members. I think that was it Thomas, I think? Was he togged up? Did I see him wrapped up? Because he's potentially been outside. And they'll all know, when they look out the back of the boat, they'll see those clouds rumbling up behind them. They'll see the storm on the horizon, basically, coming through. Yeah, Thomas Riant in the glasses on the right-hand side. Abby Ehler, new for this leg. Abby's a really interesting character. She has been part of various different ocean race teams. She did the last edition of the race with Holcim PRB. She was also one of the people that organised the Women's America's Cup. She's a big name in sailing, and if you ever get a chance to meet Abby, she doesn't, well, I mean, it's the classic thing to say that she doesn't suffer fools gladly, but she really doesn't suffer fools gladly. I've had to do a little bit of work for Abby in the past, and you need to be professional and you need to be absolutely on it. She doesn't like to smile very much. She has that very stern face. She's actually very nice, but she is a fierce, fierce sailor when you get to the point where you need to go fast. Now, it might just look like Abby there on the left, just with her right hand, just holding onto a rope. But what she's doing there, she's braced, she's ready, because they have the boat on the edge. And just like that, almost on cue, you just get a little bit more breeze, the boat heels over a little bit, and it's just time to ease that little bit. Then you can just see the elbows just out of the right-hand side, and we're just winding that boat back up. Morgan Lagraviere, sorry, I know I'm butchering that pronunciation, just bringing the sail back in. So Abby ready to ease it when it's needed, and then Morgan winding it back in. And they will be doing this hour after hour after hour, keeping that boat right on the edge. Oh, we're just hoping to get a little bit of footage from Canada Ocean Racing. The problem is, from where they are in the fleet, from where Canada is in the fleet, they're next in line for those thunderstorms to kind of roll over the top. So we'd expect the connection to get a little bit iffy as the boat starts getting thrown around and the worst of the weather coming over. There's the outside view from Alagrande Mapei. And they've still got two head sails up. So they've got two sails up at the front, and that means they're still well clear of the worst of the wind. I think it's fairly safe to say that in sailing, if it's light winds, that's hard. If it's light winds and it's hot, it's really hard. All that concentration, but you've got none of the energy. Your body is just riddled with lethargy, so tired. And then you've got the problem that now we've just skipped through that medium zone where things will get a bit cool and the boat kind of take care of itself. And we've got straight into the really windy stuff. So here we are on Team Holcim PRB, and they're already experiencing a little bit of a rough ride here. We've got Carolyn Brown on the bottom left-hand side, just getting togged up. So she's starting to put on some waterproofs. I wonder whether she's going to be jumping out. The rest of the crew just getting themselves into position. So there is Carolyn. Rosie just coming out of the hatch as well. She's already wearing a life jacket, so she is looking set to jump outside as well. So perhaps for Team Holcim PRB, I'll just bring up the tracker and we can have a quick look at where they are. So Team Holcim PRB are this boat here. For them, maybe they've got quite a nice bit of breeze here as those clouds are bringing it over, and they're ready to change the amount of sail that they've got up. It looks like Carolyn Brow, it looks like Rosalind Kuiper are going to be going outside where the wind is there. We've already got a couple of comments coming in. We're going to stay with the boats for a little bit. We're going to see if we can get a couple of the one of the OBRs, and we're going to see if we can link up with Alan Rohrer and we get a chance to hear from the sailors. But we will be answering your questions. So if you've got any, then yeah, put them in the comments and we'll gladly kind of take on any of your thoughts. I think we might just stay with Team Holcim PRB if we can, because it looks like this breeze has arrived, and with it the sea state, and then the requirement for hard work. So that's Nico Lundgren just coming out the hatch, the navigator, and he's briefing Carolyn Brow.
Watch out, Rosie's out.
Good bit of comms there. Just letting everybody know that a sailor has left the safety of the cockpit. I can see her clipped on. I can see a clip in the top right-hand corner, but just making sure everybody knows that somebody is outside. Don't do anything wild with any of the sails. And even with this fixed camera, and I can't really see the waves coming across, but even with this fixed camera, my God, you get a sense of the movement. You get a sense of that shake. So a little bit of work to be done here on Team Holcim PRB. They're obviously getting ready for some sort of sail change. We're going to keep moving around here, and I think we can go now to Canada Ocean Racing. We're going to leave the scene at Team Holcim PRB for the moment. Let's jump over to Canada Ocean Racing, because I believe, if we are lucky enough, we have got Richard, the onboard reporter. Richard, thank you very much. I know that a little while ago we were thinking it was a bit rough. It would be difficult to do this conversation. Just tell me, what's it been like for you guys over the last few hours?
It's been like a washing machine, I have to tell you. Like we needed to use all our hands and feet and all the support we could have, like to move around the boat. Yeah, it was pretty noisy, pretty fast, and bumpy ride.
And how is the crew doing? Because we've seen some of the footage. It is bumpy, it is pretty wild, but everybody must be really tired at this sort of final stage of the race.
Yeah, everybody starts to get a little bit tired because there's always at least 3 people working on deck, and one person tried to sleep for a while, maybe an hour, and then they try to sleep. But there is a lot of maneuver indeed for this leg. A lot of tech at the beginning, and now with this night that we had and this morning, it is pretty intense and tiring.
Well, I can hear some intensity going on behind you. It sounds like the crew are kind of working hard on the boat. Is it possible that you could just turn the camera, just give us an idea and give us a description as to what people are doing at the moment?
the wind dropped a little bit. We're trying to shake the reef. Now we're taking the reef again because there's more wind in front. The arm.
Pick up on lines 2 and 3.
This is a really, really bumpy ride. And we just switched now to the stern cockpit camera, and I see Pip wrapped up in waterproof gear, ready to sort of go out and sort of check on the sails. I can see you guys working so hard. So, Richard, we will leave you. We will leave you to sort of keep going with the team. Wish them very well. Yeah, the final bit of this race, but it's definitely looking tough. Thank you so much, Richard. So from one live moment on Canada Ocean Racing to the next live moment, this time on Team Malizia, Francesca Klapčić on the winch handles. Boris Herman just looking out the back. Speed Cole Brouwer, I think, outside. Whether that person outside, if it is Cole, is helming, I'm not sure.
Yeah. Screwed on.
So this is the boat. This is the boat, and I don't mean the team, although probably the team, but this is the boat. This is the cockpit that everybody wants to be in, because this is the one that's the most comfortable. And we talk so much about the head height and the ability to sort of stand up straight. And you look at Boris. If you ever had the fortune to stand next to Boris, he is a mountain of a man. So that roof is hard. But the thing that I think is really good for today is the pillars. This boat is getting thrown around on the waves. It's set to get worse. And what they can do with those pillars is they can move from one side of the boat to the other side of the boat while holding on. If you go and take a look at some of the other boats, Canada Ocean Racing that we were just on, you've got to do a leap from one side to the other side when it's time to go. But on Malizia, you can make your way across. Storm clouds on the horizon. So that is our fixed camera that we have on the back. You'll notice that it's not pointing in the same direction that we normally have it. Wind and waves, it is now pointing out the back. But it's decided on a very nice new angle, and that is the weather that is coming down for this team, sweeping across the entire fleet. So I'll give you a quick chance to have a look where they are. So Malizia here, the red boat, in that front pack of 5. Canada Ocean Racing a little bit back, and then Team Amala a little way back as well. So the wind has hit Team Amala first, and Malizia will know what's coming. A little bit of cross branding there for Francesca Klapčić. Vintage headgear. That's her 11th Hour Racing Team cap from the last edition when she won the ocean race with Charlie Enright. But if a cap fits you, keep using it. So this is the back of the boat, the sort of living quarters. There's Cole Brouwer down below with Floor, the onboard reporter. And that is a violent ride. We've had quite a bit of report of seasickness across the whole fleet. And you can see why. You see the cooker down on the bottom right with the pan just gimbaling, just being sort of thrown around on the waves. All right, on board now with Paprec Ark&eacute. So this is live happening right now on the water. And I will bring up the tracker quickly so we can have a little bit of a look with Paprec Ark&eacute. So they are up here furthest to the north. And interestingly, on the rankings, it's not ranking them in first place. But this is where you get into this interesting conundrum of who's in first. Is it the boat that's closest to the finish, or is it the boat that is in the best breeze and sort of set to kind of go past and overtake? And Paprec Ark&eacute, yeah, they're trying something a little different here. Corentin Haru, the skipper for this boat, on this leg with Johan Rishom stepping onto the shore. Yeah, there you go. There's a big name. There's a big name. Can we stay on that? Can we stay on that? Can you take me off? Because I just want to see that guy's face there. So that is Jan Elias. Now, I just want to explain who this guy is, and the fact that he's standing next to Corentin Haru, I think, is significant. Johan Rishom, the owner of this team, is the two-time winner of the Solitaire de Figaro. And if you do the Solitaire de Figaro and you do well, then Johan Rishom thinks you're all right in my book. You're speaking the same language. You've kind of cut your teeth in the same storm that he has. Corentin Haru, he's the latest winner of the Solitaire de Figaro. He's the man of the moment, so he's in. For Jan Elias, he's a 3-time winner of the Solitaire de Figaro. And I'm pretty sure that more people have walked on the moon than have won the Solitaire de Figaro 3 times. Why on earth you'd want to win it 3 times? Why on earth you'd want to come back and do it? I do not know. But it is, he will be somebody that Johan Rishom will have been coming up, looking at and thinking Jan Elias really is something quite special. And now he's got him on board his boat. Another driver wrapped up, trying to protect themselves from the worst of the weather. Gaston Morvan, he's the guy on the tiller. So the wind and the waves are coming up here for Paprec Ark&eacute, and is indeed for the rest of the fleet. But this isn't the first moment that Paprec Ark&eacute have had a bit on in this race. And I don't just mean speed. I don't just mean the boats behind. But take a little look at this. So this is the OBR being woken up from down below. And this is what they see. The head sail, that black sail that is dragging in the water, the halyard, the line, the rope that is pulling that sail all the way to the top of the mast, broke, and it dumped the sail in the water. They were vying for sort of second, third at this point, and then the sail crashed into the water. So, okay, you're carrying spares, you can get it back up. The amount of water sitting on top of this sail creates such an incredible weight, and having to pull in this sail, drag it out of the water, is damn near impossible. So it acts as a sea anchor at this point, and you can see how slowly the boat is going. And there's nothing to do but get everybody forward, everybody on deck, grab whatever part of the sail you can, and just heave and haul it onto the deck. You've got to work from an edge, from a corner, otherwise you're pulling up an entire fishing net. But they were unbelievably lucky that the foil did not pierce the sail. The sail, we're told by the sailors, it's still usable. And they do think they're going to have to use it due to the weather forecast in the future. They think they are going to have to use it. So it got stuffed down below, ready to be deployed again. But they've got a broken halyard as well. And when the weather calms down, they're going to need to be quick to replace that one. All right, Onboard Team Amala, the boat that earlier on saw 70 knots. These are live images from down below on Team Amala. Conrad Coleman and Rebecca Gumer in the cockpit. Now, we are just hoping that we might be able to speak to Alan Rohrer or somebody from the crew of Amala, just to hear a little bit about what that moment was like with that incredible wind that came across the boat. So if we are lucky here, if the connection holds with the pounding that the boat is getting, we might be able to talk to one of the sailors live. And that, to me, looks like that could be Alan Rohrer there, down below, in relative comfort on the beanbag. We'll see if we can get a connection. I think the connection's not quite going to work for us today. So we're going to hope and see whether we can get them there. Okay, but let's take a look at what this moment's been like, what this boat has been through. So let's take a look at the action that we had on Amala just a few moments ago. So this is what the onboard reporter has sent through. This is what that squall looked and sounded like.
15 to 16 knots, so let's bear away. No, it's gonna be fine. Better stay like this, it's slow. If we bear away, we're just gonna fly 30 knots. Yep. Get it.
Yeah, that's nerves on the face of Conrad Coleman there, because he knows it's no joke going out on deck. He actually suggested, do we bear the boat away? Do we stop the boat? Do we slow it right down? Alan Rohrer, skipper, decides, no, I've got this. I'm clipped on. I'm going to be okay. I can pack the sail down. I can keep it under control. That is serious wind across the deck, nearly 70 knots, and it hit the boat hard. They went from under 5 knots to 70 knots in really a few hours. And when it is that windy as well, it just flattens the sea. Conrad Coleman, amazing to see that smile on his face when he saw Alan Rohrer get down below. Because, well, I'll be honest here, Conrad Coleman, he has experienced the rough side of bad conditions in 2 occasions. He's been on board a boat when somebody's gone overboard, managed to recover them, and he's been on a boat solo when he has fallen overboard, but he has been tethered on and he managed to get back on board. So that is why he was suggesting to be cautious, and then also very pleased to have Alan Rohrer back inside, safe and sound. All right, so no joke out there on the fleet. Right, so what I'd like to do now, guys, I'd like to turn to some of your questions, some of your comments as to what's been going on in the racing so far. So I've got a couple in. So just having a little bit of a look. So quick question here. Who is the real decision maker on board Alla Grande Mapei? I think it's Thomas. What do you think? Ambrosio is still learning. Okay, that's a fair question. I don't think decision maker is probably the right term. Ambrosio Beccaria is the decision maker. He has got an awful lot to learn, but if you spend a bit of time with him and you watch what's going on board, it's very much his boat and it's very much his campaign. But also, yeah, I mean, he is still learning, and he's learning about a boat that Thomas Rian owns. Thomas Rian's handed it to him. So he is learning how to make it work. And who are you going to ask? You're going to ask Thomas. This is on board at the moment with Alla Grande Mapei, and Morgan is still driving, still somehow keeping the energy. So To go back to your question, I think it's a fair observation that it's not one person in charge and that same person with all the knowledge. But being in charge and making that final decision also means asking your lieutenants, what do you think? What do you think? And some of them might know a little bit more about that situation. So, yeah. Another question, bring back the VO65s. The VO65s. There's a couple of them here. There's one of them on the hard in Alicante. But I'll be honest with you as to why we're not seeing this. Because the VO65s were made an awfully long time ago. And if they were hit by this 70-knot squall, they would have broken in half. They are old boats. Lovely, beautiful boats with a wonderful story, and they did us really well. But we are faster, foiling, and we need boats to be able to withstand what the sailors can do with them. How much do you think the relatively comfortable conditions on board Malizia help their performance versus the cramped space on Amala? I think that you cannot underestimate how important it is that you are comfortable, you're not twisted and cramped on board this boat here. I think if you speak to anybody in the fleet and you talk to the designers of the Amocas, they all realise we went a bit too far. We went a bit too far in search of performance, and we didn't value sleep, relaxation, rest, comfort. People are just getting too many head injuries. So I think you'll see everybody making a few steps, maybe not giant leaps, more in the direction that Malizia is going. I'm very interested to see what Boris Herman's new boat is going to look like, because this boat is going to be in the hands of Francesca Klapčić, who we see there in the cap. She is going to be taking this boat. And when I asked her, you know, you were on 11th Hour Racing Team, which is the boat that is now Canada Ocean Racing, low down, sleek. I said, what's the difference being on board Malizia? Oh, the ability to stand up, the ability to be stretched. It's so much more comfortable, she said. If it's comfortable, you sleep better, you eat better, and then for sure, you push hard. Okay, another question. How come from the inside images, some Amocas look considerably wider than others? That is a choice. That is an absolute choice. So all the Amocas fit to, if you imagine that the rule says, here's a box, and your Amoca has to fit inside it. So pretty much there's a limit to how wide and how long and all this. But there's also all sorts of weight and performance implications by making things tall and wide and everything else. So some of them have decided to go taller, so we don't need to go too wide. Other them have gone wider, we'll go lower. And it's just that little bit of balance. We're on board Biotherm at the moment, and Biotherm is, I'd say, medium wide, but it's all just about what you want, what the sailor wants. And some of these boats have been made to the size and shape of their skipper, because they're often sailed single-handed. So Paul Mayer would have gone, I want that just that far away, an arm's reach away. I want this here, because then I can just fit into this space. So some of the boats, when they change hands, some people think, oh, why have you made this cockpit so wide, so narrow, so tall, so short? And it's because, oh, I made it to fit my body. That was an interesting shot. Just in the background there, we could just see another boat. So we are riding at the moment with Biotherm, and directly behind them is Team Holcim PRB. And Team Holcim PRB has been directly behind them for some time. They are, Rosalind Kuiper and the rest of the crew on Holcim are absolutely pushing Paul Mayer here. This is the time of the show where I remind us all that Biotherm have got a perfect score. Every bonus gate, every leg win, perfect score. If you want to beat Biotherm, you have to be absolutely flawless. If I was on Biotherm right now, I'd be thinking, oh, we've got Holcim right behind me. The odds are they will stay behind. But let's see what happens. Okay, another question here. My question is, since they have so much data on the various settings, wind conditions, sea state, etc., do they utilize AI to figure optimization of the boat's configuration? Ooh, that's a great question. And I have no idea. What I will tell you is the computer brain power of these boats is essentially led by two major companies in France. Very good at what they do. And we got a lovely tour, and we'd ask about this, and they'd tell us this. And whenever we say, oh, in the future, do you think you can do this? They go, we're not talking about that. So they've definitely had some tricks up their sleeves for a while. And I'm sure that some of these sailors have gone and said, with all of this data, can we feed it into a computer brain? And can the computer brain just simulate and test and test and test? I'm sure if they're not doing it, they'll do it soon. But if the computer says, you should do this, you should do that, you still have to have the energy, the concentration, the understanding, the physical power, and sometimes the bravery to do it. Having a computer does not make you fast. It will just help you if you've got the ability to get there a little bit quicker. It's still all about those sailors being gutsy enough to pull ropes. Live at the moment for Canada Ocean Racing. Christopher Pratt on that left-hand side. Glad to see somebody else that when they get nervous, they chew their tongue. I do that. So we are getting near to the point now where we're going to need to leave these boats. We have been riding along with them live on the water.
Yeah, well, main shit. I probably wait.
Brian Thompson.
Yeah, but I think it's main shit first.
Brian Thompson, you could cut that guy in half, and the bottom half is on a summer holiday, and the top half is on a Scandi winter tour. He's got his skiing goggles, he's got his beach shoes and shorts. And I will not in any way criticize him because he has been round the planet more times than most people, and he's done it faster as well. Multiple record holder, but he definitely is, he sails his own way, doesn't he? So, this has been a bit of a treat. It's so exciting. This edition of the Ocean Race with all this technology, with the sailors letting us in, letting us on board, and we can join the race live as it happens and just get a little bit of a taste as to the easy bits, the hard bits, the boring bits, the challenging bits, the tiring bits. But where can we go in the future to sort of follow the race? Well, we are going to be doing the Ocean Race Onboard live, and you are going to be able to capture these moments live. If you're in the UK, Italy, Germany, that's going to be on Discovery Plus. The rest of Europe, that is HBO Max. And we are going to be putting out a show twice a week. The schedule's going to be online, and you're going to get a chance to do this, to join us, to ride along live with the sailors, with the boats, and experience the race as they do in a way that we've never really been able to do before. So I hope you've enjoyed this little chance to get a sense of what's happening at the moment as this race continues to push forward. We expect the fleet to arrive in Nice in maybe the first boat around about 8 o'clock in the morning. Who that first boat is going to be is not certain. Biotherm is in the lead, but this pack of 5 boats that are chasing each other around these last few corners, it is getting very tight indeed. So the finish tomorrow, and we will have more live moments on Discovery Plus and HBO Max. Thank you very much for joining us today. We'll see you soon.